This is Hino's the Sport, bringing you that heat and that fire. We keeping a foot on the what? X. We keeping a foot on the what? X. Let me tell you guys something. I don't expect much from Devin Haney versus Yukirois Gamboa, and I'm going to tell you why. Because he's fighting Gervonta Tank Davis leftovers. Let me say it again. He's fighting Gervonta Tank Davis's leftovers. The bottom line in this most cold-hearted, unadulterated, cutthroat two-teller fashion is as simple as this. Devin Haney's handlers, i.e. Bill Haney, when you let your dad, who doesn't know too much shit about the sport of boxing, let alone know anything about training and manage your affairs, you end up in the position that you end up in. You end up in a position where now you're with the new car salesman, i.e. in fucking Eddie Hearn in Matchroom Sports. You just traded one master to the next. You could have fell your ass up on the PBC, been with Al Heyman, the shrewdest businessman in boxing. You could have had your affairs in order. He could have had you looking crispier than a fucking Three Peaks. What ends up happening? You let your father, like PD, be all up in the videos, try to promote you, try to push you, and what ends up happening? He fucks your shit up. You had an opportunity to fight Gary Russell Jr. You found a way to fuck that shit up. You had an opportunity to really push yourself and to really show what your true value is at 135. That Gary Russell Jr. fight would have been a transitional fight for you in boxing. Even though Gary Russell would have been going up in weight, we would have given you credit because we would have saw in its most cold-hearted, unadulterated, and cutthroat two-teller fashion that you was about that shit and not about that bullshit. It's like Biggie said, party and bullshit, and party and bullshit, party and bullshit. But in this case, bullshit and fuck shit begets bullshit and fuck shit. Bullshit and fuck shit begets bullshit and fuck shit. And that's what it is at its truest and its most properest levels. It's bullshit and it's fucking fuck shit. Devin Haney, if we don't call your rabbit ass out, then the bottom line is this. We have to tell ourselves that you're not doing anything special here. Notice a trend here. You fought Alfredo Santiago. You look bad in that fight. You look predictable. You look like you were throwing a choppy overhand right that was predictable as fuck. You was getting exposed. You was getting picked the fuck apart. But you're going to sit here and make us believe that you had a quality opponent. And then this is how we know your career is not being ran right. You had fucking YouTubers have the premier headlining event. You're supposed to be one of the stars at Matchroom Sports. You see how the master treated you? He treated you like the new slave that was on the fucking block. See, Hino's the Sport is a standard bearer and a trendsetter on YouTube for a reason. It's because in Sun Tzu, aka Art of War, 7 Steps Ahead of the Game, 48 Laws of Power, I point out the shit that motherfuckers are either too scared or too shackled by black or other, i.e. boxing community fan bases, to point out. But Hino's the Sport is an independent motherfucker. So Hino's the Sport is going to talk in his independent contractor fashion. Devin Haney's affairs is not being ran correctly. And if anyone is not seeing this, then you're not actually being honest with this guy. You're not being honest with this kid. Because this kid is not being ran right. And now you're trying to sell us on a fucking leftover fight of Gamboa, and you think we're gonna fall for that bullshit? You think we're gonna fall for that fuck shit? It's a things that make you say, It's a things that make you say, The bottom line is this. This is a quantity and not a quality fight. You better be careful, Devin Haney, because you're treading into the territory of the Chihuahua barking behind the damn fence in Terrence Buck Crawford. That's the cold-hearted. That's the unadulterated. That's the cutthroat two-teller fashion. I keeps the foot on the what? X. I keeps the foot on the what? X. This is Hino's the Sport. Check it out.